Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we'll discuss another important concept into a .NET Core ecosystem, and that is called as middleware. If you have given any .NET Core interview in a recent past, then I'm pretty much sure that you must have encountered a same question, like what is middleware? So in this video, I'll try to explain you the concept of a middleware in a very layman term so that you would be able to understand this in detail and would be able to answer well into your next interview. So without wasting further time, let's get started. The first question is, what is a middleware? A middleware in a .NET Core ecosystem is a pipeline which acts between a request and a response. So for example, if a user who is trying to access the employee controller in this current diagram, whenever he make a request from a browser to the employee controller, the request will flow with certain events with certain components in between, and that component is called as middleware. In this example, component number 1 and component number 2 are two middlewares that are acting between a .NET Core pipeline between a request from user till a response from a employee controller. Now, whenever a request flows from a middleware, they follow a specific pattern. So, for example, in your current pipeline, if you have included a middleware 1 in the beginning and middleware 2 after 1, then middleware 1 will execute first and the middleware second will execute after middleware 1. In simple terms, it means that if your second middleware is somehow dependent on the first middleware, then you should register the first middleware before the second middleware in Program.cs. I'll show you the path as well in a couple of seconds, but you need to remember this bit that the sequence of middleware matters in .NET Core ecosystem. Now let's take an example that if a request is flowing from first middleware to second middleware and then it hits a controller, whenever a controller will process the all the things, it will retrieve data from database, then the response will come back into a same order, which in simple terms means that it will flow in a reverse direction. So from controller to middleware 2 and from middleware 2 to middleware 1 and from middleware 1 to user. So the way request proceeds or flow from user to controller, it will follow the same cycle in a reverse direction in middleware. Okay. So that is the whole concept of a middleware in a .NET Core ecosystem. But from a technical perspective, from a technical point of view, you can say that it is a piece of a code that sits in HTTP request pipeline and it can inspect the incoming request, it can modify the responses, it can stop the request from reaching the next middleware, or it can pass the control to the next middleware. Right? So in your next interview, you have to give this answer in this way only. Now, a second question which might come into your mind that what will happen if any of the middleware in the entire pipeline stopped working? Maybe something like this. Maybe in my request pipeline, middleware 1 is working fine, but middleware 2 stopped working. Then what will happen? Again, this is also a favorite question from an interviewer perspective. And in that case, the simple answer is if that happen, then your entire pipeline will be short circuited. We use this word as short circuited. Okay. So you have to use this technical term only in this interview. So, in simple terms, the role of a middleware is to grab the request from the user, process it if required, and then it is supposed to pass the request in the next middleware. And passing the request in the next middleware is very important because if that step is not done, then nothing will happen. So, that is all about the theory of a middleware. But let's jump to our source code to understand this in detail. I'm using a basic .NET Core Web API project. It is based on .NET 8. As of now, I don't have any controller apart from a weather forecast controller, and this weather forecast controller only consists of a single endpoint, that is Git. It does not perform any complex logic. But if I navigate back to my program.cs, you will notice that there are a couple of piece of code written over here, right? Like app dot use HTTPS redirection, app dot use authorization, app dot map controller. Maybe I can recruit, I can use another middleware inside it, and that is called as app dot routing, or maybe app dot use routing, right? So these all are middlewares into a .NET Core pipeline. All of them are middleware. And the way that they work from top to bottom. As I told you, that whatever middleware that you have registered on the top will act in in the front in the pipeline, and whatever you registered in the end will act in the end of the pipeline. In simple terms, their sequence matters. For example, if you create a middleware, like if you are using these two middlewares, and if this use HTTP direction, although it's having a different use case, but for this example, if authorization middleware is dependent upon this middleware, then you need to write down this middleware before defining the second one. And that sequence matter. There is no specific guideline for the sequence. It's something which we need to identify as per the middleware you are adding it, that a dependent middleware should always be in a proper sequence. Last but not the least, app.run should be the last line in the program.cs, because whatever you will write it down after app.run will be simply ignored by the request pipeline. It should be the last middleware into a .NET Core ecosystem. The next question which I have found is asked by an interviewer multiple times is, can we create a custom middleware? The short answer is yes. We can create a custom middleware as well into a .NET Core pipeline, and there are multiple use cases of creating a custom middleware. Maybe you want to simply response or modify the response of the middleware. Maybe you want to include a logger into it. Maybe you want to do some kind of common exception handling. Now, let's see how we can implement a custom middleware into a .NET Core ecosystem. To start with, I'll create a folder inside my current project. I'll give this folder name as middlewares. Inside the middleware, I'll create a new class and give the class name as custom middleware. Again, you can give this whatever you want. Now, up to this point, it is just a class file. Okay, it does not include any other changes. But in order to work with a middleware, or in order to create this as a middleware, you need to have a constructor inside this file, and the constructor should have a specific injection, and that injection is called as request delegate. Okay, so you have to create a new object inside the constructor, and the constructor object should be called as request delegate. And then you need to create a read only field for it, which we can say private read only field underscore next, and then next equals to next. Now, this part of a code is called as dependency injection in .NET Core. I'll create a separate topic for it, but as of now, you can simply think that this is a dependency injection in .NET Core. Once you have defined these constructor and this read only field, the next method that you have to create is public async task, and then invoke async, and you have to pass a HTTP context object. And inside this HTTP context object, this await next context is very important, because it passed the request to next middleware. Okay. If you don't write this line, it means your pipeline will be short circuited. Remember the diagram, the one that I showed you? So if you don't write this line, which is await next equals to context, your request will be not moved to the next middleware, and your entire pipeline will be short circuited. Now, this line is important, but there is a specific sequence of executing this line. So let's say on top of it, I declare a string variable. So where a string is maybe, or I can declare something like where first step and give the name as first step. Okay. I just want to show you a use case. And now suppose in after this middleware, if I write down where second step, go to second step. So when you run the middleware, the first request will come to this cycle or this file path. Then it goes to the next middleware in the pipeline. It will hit your controller. And once you receive a response from the controller, then it will come back to this step. Let's see this in action. But before jumping to that bit, we need to register this middleware in my program.cs. And that I can do with a simple line. I will go to my program.cs and I'll let it down app dot use middleware and give the middleware name as custom middleware, the one that I have created. And in this way, you have registered a custom middleware into your .NET Core pipeline. Now let's put a breakpoint in the custom middleware and let's start this application in debug mode. So I'll again restart it by pressing on the debug mode, and this will open up my Swagger. And once I click on this Swagger, and if I click on try it out and click on execute, clicking on execute means a user is trying to call a controller. I'll click on execute and let's see this in action. So once I click on execute, you will notice that the request comes to my first step, which is inside my custom middleware. Even before reaching out to my controller, it reached out to middleware. I'll put a breakpoint in my controller as well. Okay. And now you will notice that once I press F10, it moves to the next line of code, which is await next, and it will move my flow to the next middleware. Now, in my case, I don't have any other middleware in my pipeline. So the request will reach out to my controller. And you will notice that it reaches to my controller, supposed to be done, like calling from a database, maybe they are doing some business logic, but whatever the use case is, that will be performed. And once the response is getting back to the user, it will again come to the middleware, and this time the next line got executed. See, second step. So in this way, we can say that with the help of a middleware, I can modify the request and I can modify the responses as well. Suppose if you want to include some additional property inside the request, then you need to write a code above this line. And suppose if you want to modify the response that is sending back to the client, then you need to write down this code after this line. Okay. So that is the use case of a middleware. Now, I hope these things are clear to you. So, just to repeat the entire process again, middleware are just a specific path, or I could say a specific piece of code that act between a request and response. Whenever you send a request from a control from a browser, or whenever a user make a request, before hitting a controller, middleware comes into an action. If there are multiple middleware in the pipeline, each one of them will execute one by one, and they will simply perform the same action whatever they are supposed to be done, and then a response will again flow back in a same order. There are a couple of use cases, or I should say a real base scenario where we can use middleware. I can use middleware for my API key validation. I can use middleware for my audit logging. I can also use it for a custom error formatting, maybe a response compression, maybe a global request throttling, or whatever it is. Whatever is your use case, middleware is there to help you out into a .NET Core pipeline. Now, this is it from my side for this video. In the next video, I'll explain some different interview questions that are commonly asked in a .NET Core interview. Till that time, please keep in sync, please watch my content, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.